Hey guys, so we had a question recently about one of our popular recipes and the makeup in terms of macronutrients, proteins, fats, and carbs of this recipe. Now this question will be coming up a lot because unless we eat a specific whole food like chicken or veggies, generally it's not super clear what quadrant in terms of the plate method a recipe that involves a lot of different elements would sit in. So I'm going to try and help you look at a recipe and look at a nutrition label like a nutrition coach would. So we're seeing the breakdown of each, and you could even do some of the math that's involved in getting really specific with that breakdown. So let's start with, the easiest of course is to look at the ingredients, and if you generally understand that applesauce is a carbohydrate, egg is actually half fat, half protein, but egg whites are full protein, oats are pretty much fully a carb, and then the protein powder of course is entirely your protein, then you can kind of high level gauge what the elements are in. You have some protein in there, you do have some carbohydrates, and then it's a little lower on the fats because there's only one egg, so only really one serving of fat in here. And you can see that translated over here. You're pretty balanced in carbohydrates, 10 grams, with 9 grams of protein, and then a little lower on the fats. Now let's break that down for what that looks like calorically, because these calories are made up of those three macronutrients: fat, carbs, protein. Nothing, the other things on this list really are just kind of subcategories for those, or things like sodium, which is not really, those don't have calories associated with them. So I'm going to break down what a macronutrient would amount to calorically. So we have fats here, 2 grams, have carbohydrates, 10 grams, and you have protein, 9 grams. So carbohydrates and proteins are calorically balanced. So 10 grams, each gram of carbohydrate is 4 grams. Each gram of carbohydrates is 4 calories. Each gram of protein is 4 calories. Now fat at 2 grams, you think, oh, that's really little. And while it is a lower in fat, you actually need to multiply that by 9, because it's 9 calories per gram of fat. It's a more calorically dense food, which is why we keep it to that thumb measurement. It's a much smaller portion compared to your proteins and your carbs generally when we're trying to balance things. So doing the math, once you multiply this by 9, this by 4, this by 4, add those up, do that over the total calories, then you are looking at approximately 20% is fat, 42% is carbs, and 38% is protein. So you can see that your carbs and protein are fairly balanced in here, little heavier on the carbs in this recipe, and then 20% is fat. Now, if you look at the meal plan, one of the things you'll notice is that it includes the almond butter as a snack with this. The reason being is because almond butter is primarily fat with a little bit of protein added into it. So that will bring up your protein and increase your fat to actually balance this out much better. HSN tends to work off a 40% carbohydrate, 30% protein, and 30% fat rule of thumb there. So that's kind of the macronutrient balance that they're going for. I hope that helps kind of give you an idea of how to look at a recipe. And if you have any questions, of course, with any recipes you plan on making and want a breakdown of that, especially if you don't have a nutrition label, your coach can help you with that.